So here it is, the Midsummer CLassic, the Travers. It's a Grade 1. It's the 13th race on the Saturday card at Saratoga. It's run at a mile and a quarter for 3-year-olds. And this anchors what the all Grade 1 pick 5. So this race looks to be a real barn burner. This is going to be a classic race. A great field. We'll take a look at it. Of course, we've got the filly, Torpedo Anna, going to try the boys. Basically has decimated the 3-year-old filly division, so why not give it a shot? Sierra Leone, he's just been consistent as hell throughout, been a little unlucky in some respects, been his own worst enemy in others, but will be running late. Unmatched Wisdom, the Chad Brown, second Chad Brown in the race, won the Curlin on the front end, should be part of the pace mix. Corporate Power, who was in that same race, finished a decent second for Shug McGahee and is now going to take another step forward. Batten down for Bill Mott, who won the Ohio Derby and ran a monster. Jim Dandy, by all accounts, really. And we'll see if he can take another step forward from there. You've got Anna Marie, the second and other closer in this race, who got a fourth in the Belmont and is now coming back off a significant layoff. And then you've got Dornoch, the Belmont and Haskell winner, just tough as nails and going to have his hands full in this one, but we'll see if he's up to it. And then finally, the ultimate enigma, Fierceness. Which Fierceness shows up? If we get the Breeders' Cup Juvenile one or the Jim Dandy, then everybody might be playing for second. If we get the alternative, second time in the good race, bad race pattern, then maybe not, don't have to fear Fierceness very much. So we'll take a look at this field. We'll go through them one at a time. Now, the popular conception is that there's going to be a lot of pace in this race because you've got a lot of front runners or horses who like to be up near the lead. Unmatched Wisdom is 3 for 3 for Chad Brown and won the Curlin last time. Really didn't have much of a challenge, I'd say. Was the concern I have with Unmatched Wisdom is, number one, the stepping up in class after the last 3 races. The Curlin was an okay race. I wouldn't call it a real classy race per se. And he wasn't really challenged terribly much. His class rating didn't come back as really significant, like that Grade 1 level, like a 120 plus that you want to see. So it remains to be seen whether or not Unmatched Wisdom can handle this type of class test. The thing that I'm a little concerned about is he's not the greatest out of the gate. And if you go back and watch the Curlin, you'll note he was a little slow out of the gate. Not real bad, but enough that he had to bolt early to get up to the lead. Now, if he has that same issue in this race, and from the looks of it, he's not always very sharp out of the gate, that's going to be a major problem. Now, he may be able to rate. We don't know that yet. He's done it a little bit, but in this type of company, whether or not that's going to allow him to have some kick late, I don't know. But I'm just really reticent to take horses coming out of an ungraded stakes that was restricted, moving into a Grade 1 with all these battle-tested horses. So, to me, Unmatched Wisdom could be potentially a pace factor, but again, because he's a little slow out of the gate, he may not be able to get to where he wants to without a little effort early, and I think that's probably going to seal his fate late. So I'm going to let Unmatched Wisdom go. Batten down is coming for Bill Mott, and this is third off the layoff, and an interesting statistic is Bill Mott is 2 for 15, third off the layoff in graded stakes for 3-year-olds at Roots. And I'm not terribly surprised by that because Batten Down had a nice Ohio Derby. He really wasn't challenged very much in that race, but came back and ran a monster Jim Dandy. He ran a great race. You go back and look at that, and he really just ran his eyeballs out. Problem was, it wasn't good enough, and it wasn't good enough against Sierra Leone or Fierceness, who were both here. Batten down, I think maybe with a little more work later on will be could be a really good horse. That pedigree screams it, but I don't like him here because I think he's going to have a little bit of a regression, and that should seal his fate here. The other thing about it is, uh, because wants to run up near the front end. I mean, I think they tried to rate him in the Jim Dandy, and he can probably do it. But I just think that maybe he'll be a little sharp early. Horses who tend to regress get a little sharp early in a race and then back up pretty quickly. So maybe he contributes something to the pace, but I don't like his chances in here, and so I'm letting Batten Down go as well. Now we come to Dornoch, and I was tough on this horse early, admittedly, and I was dead wrong about him. He looked at that Fountain of Youth, and he just didn't beat anything, and looked like he was working hard to do it. And then the Derby was a complete disaster, and obviously he's redeemed himself with wins in the Belmont and the Haskell, and he's just a real tough customer, and you've got to like him. He's just got that fight. When he gets met between the eyes, or a horse meets him in the eyes, he just finds something else. He's got grit. Now, if you consider the rest of this field, maybe Torpedo Anna can match him in the grit department. We really don't know. She's awful classy, but to me, I think fight is what maybe makes the difference here. And I like Dornoch to win this race, and that's who I'm picking. So we come to the filly, Torpedo Anna. Now, the thing you have to consider more than anything else, I have been tough on this horse early on, and the main reason was, if you look at her running lines, the late fraction, it's not the greatest. And what you'd have to think is, if you consider when she's running against the fillies, she dominates these fields. And the reason she can is her first couple of fractions, she's able to run at a high cruising speed and then has enough left to draw off. Well, you got two problems here. Number one, you've got horses who can run with her here. That's the first thing. The second thing is it's a mile and a quarter. So when you see a horse whose fractions are a little light at shorter distances, it only lends to, it just says that the longer the distances are, the harder it's going to be. I've heard a lot about she's not fast enough. She's fast enough. I have no doubt about that. I do doubt whether or not she can do it at this level of competition, at this class level, with horses who are comparable in speed. That's really the issue. If she wins this, it will impress me mightily because it will show she's got a ton of grit and a lot of fight. But she is not going to win this race on talent because there are others in here who are as good. And that's really what, to me, is going to make it awful tough for Torpedo Anna to win this race. I think on talent and class, she can stick around. I could see her getting third, but I don't see much past that because for the reasons stated. So it's a nice story. And listen, I would be very happy for horse racing if Torpedo Anna can do this. It would be great for the sport. And it's not like I don't want to see the sport promoted. But you have to look at the facts here, and we can't lead with our heart. And just from a clinical perspective, I do not see Torpedo Anna good enough to win this race. And so underneath, perhaps in the exotics, but that's the extent of it. And I think second would be a really big effort from her, and I'm not sure that that's in the offing here. So Torpedo Anna, to me, is a toss with a little bit of an exception. I've put her in there with an asterisk as maybe third, but I think that's the extent of it. Now we come to fierceness. What are we going to get? Okay. I loved fierceness in the Jim Dandy, and I was rewarded. Some people have noted that fierceness looked like he was backing up at a mile and an eighth in the Jim Dandy. Go back and watch that race again. He actually was starting to pull away from Sierra Leone in the stretch late. Just a little bit, but enough to tell you that the distance I think this horse can get, mainly on talent. That's not what I'm bothered with fierceness. What I am bothered by is after the Jim Dandy, what did Todd Pletcher say? We need to give this horse a little more time between races, and then we get the optimum performance. Well, we know who Fierceness's owner is. It's Mike Rapoli, and without Mind Frame in the Travers, you know he was not going to go through that race without a contestant. So I'm fairly certain this is an owner's decision to put Fierceness in the Travers. I don't think this horse has had enough time to rebound. Now, I've heard that he's carrying his weight better, and 3-year-olds are likely to improve the later the year goes on and perhaps mature a little bit. But I've also heard he hasn't gotten much bigger since the time he was 2 years old. So there's some conflict there. And then, of course, we've got the issues. He's got foot problems. And if his feet are a little tender, then coming back this quickly may be a problem. And that might explain the good race, bad race pattern. I'm not sure of any of that. But you have to go by what we've seen from Fierceness, and that putting back-to-back races together, particularly with only about a month between races, given the MO, given what we've seen in the past, I have to toss Fierceness. He can beat me, but I'll just say from my perspective, the only 2 times I've picked 2 out of 3, I missed him in the Holy Bull, but I did not miss him in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and I didn't miss him in the Jim Dandy. Florida Derby as well. I don't even count that because that field was nothing. But anyway, I want to be on the right side of Fierceness, and I don't think that's the case here, so I'm letting him go. Corporate Power is a horse that seems to be getting better, but note that in the Curlin, he had every chance to get to Unmatched Wisdom, and he just couldn't do it. And that, to me, is a big concern. I didn't think that was the greatest of fields. And Corporate Power certainly ran his best race to date, but you note he was still a little wobbly in the stretch, so maybe there's a little bit more maturing that needs to be done. Given his running style, I think he can stick around and get into third for the bottom of the try, but that would be the extent of my interest. I don't think he's good enough at this point, given all these other battle-tested horses he's going to have to deal with at the Grade 1 level, which he has never been at before. So Corporate Power is a conditional use for the bottom of the try. Now we come to Sierra Leone. And, the thing with him, of course, we all know, he seems to be his own worst enemy, lugging in, preventing others from doing better. I'm still a little miffed at him for Forever Young in the Kentucky Derby, but there's no denying this horse brings it every time. He's certainly validated his purchase price. He's an excellent horse. He's a monster, and he's got that big stride. And I'm not so sure that he really needs to have a spirited pace to run his best. I think he's proven that that's not really what he needs. I think he's just going to bring his best game. This is a track that I think he can handle, is without a problem. And I know Chad Brown. Chad Brown wants nothing more than to win the Travers. He's a local guy, and I think he's got a very good chance here. I don't think he's pace dependent. I'm not sure how much of it there's going to be, but I think he's just a damn good horse. He's going to run his race, and he'll be firing late. And I think you're going to get a rematch of the Remsen. You're going to get Dornoch and Sierra Leone going at it head-to-head in the stretch. This may be the time that Sierra Leone finally gets over the top, but I think Dornoch, just because of the level of fight, the fact that the pace shouldn't really use him up too much, I think it's going to be honest. I don't think it's going to be quick. But I think Sierra Leone absolutely is a horse that if you bet him on top, wouldn't blame you in the slightest. But I think he is one of the top 2 to win the Travers. Now we come to Honor Marie, and really the issue to me more than anything is that the long layoff. I also think that this horse, we probably overrated a bit. Ran a pretty good Belmont last time, got 4th, but this horse does have a propensity to find trouble, and you never like that. And secondly, coming off a long layoff, is really the thing for me. Now, if you go back in this horse's running lines in the Risen Star, he was coming off a long layoff and was awful slow to engage. He did get going late, but if that happens here, he's doomed. He's got no chance to catch any of these who are going to be more forwardly placed. Secondly, you've got another closer in the race, Sierra Leone, who is just a better horse in my opinion. So I'm going to let Honor Marie go. I don't think this horse can win this race. You want to put him in at the bottom of the try or the super, that's fine. I think he could certainly do that. I think there'll be a couple others backing up here, and that should allow him to ease into third or fourth. But that would be the extent of my interest with Honor Marie. So we take a look at our wagering strategy. I'm going with Dornoch. This horse is a fighter. I just love that about this horse. He just got grit, and I underestimated it early on, but I am not going to do that again. He has the chance to be the first horse since Point Given to win the Belmont, the Haskell, and the Travers, and what a triple that would be. And I think he can do it. So we're going to bet Dornoch to win. Then we're going to take Dornoch and Sierra Leone, and we're going to go 7-2 cold in the exacta. And then we'll do a 2-7 cold Dornoch, Sierra Leone as well, because I do think Sierra Leone has the potential to take this one down. Then for the trifecta, we're going to keep it real simple. We're going to go Dornoch, Sierra Leone, and all, because I'm not sure who necessarily can get up for third in this one. You want to add in a 2-7 all trifecta as well. Wouldn't blame you whatsoever. But I think this race is pretty straightforward. And I'm just going by the two horses that have shown me over the course of the 3-year-old year that they've got class, they've got grit, and I think they're the two best in this race, given some of the other conditions that make some of the more prominent horses in here vulnerable. So Dornoch to win the Travers. Stay on the lookout for our Pick 5 sequence, the All Grade 1 for the Travers, and we'll try to get some Del Mar in for the weekend as well. And we'll also be having something on the personal ensign for Friday's card at Saratoga. So hope this helps you with your own wagering strategy. I wish you the best of luck. It's going to be a great Saturday, and I'll be there. Look forward to being there. Any of you want to come by and say hello, please do. If you see me, I don't think you could miss me. I'm a pretty big guy. And so I'll talk to you soon, and until then, be well.